All right, we need to talk. Because after what went down in the Browns' final preseason game, there's only one logical conclusion left to make. Get Shedeur Sanders the hell out of Cleveland. Like yesterday. No, seriously. Who do we need to call? A GM? A U-Haul? A helicopter? Because whatever it takes, this kid needs to be rescued from whatever football hostage situation he's currently trapped in. And if you watched even 5 minutes of that preseason game, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's break it down. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Shedeur came into the game late, after Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel got their chances to operate with actual NFL caliber game plans. You know, linemen who could block, receivers who ran the right routes, timing that wasn't completely off the rails. The offense was humming. Not perfect, but functional. Like something a team might actually use in a regular season game. Then cue Shedeur, and suddenly it's like the Browns said, all right, let's see what this kid can do with a blindfold on, both shoelaces tied together, and a bunch of teammates we found in the parking lot. No protection, no real chemistry, no rhythm, just chaos. From the first snap, it was obvious he was set up to fail. And no, that's not just conspiracy theory level paranoia. That's what it looked like. The O-line completely collapsed over and over. Misassignments, free rushers off the edge, blitzes nobody picked up. The kind of pass protection that makes you wonder if Shedeur accidentally offended someone's grandma. And let's not forget the receivers, who couldn't separate if you gave them a crowbar. So what happens? Sacks, panic, garbage stats. All the things that critics will now lazily use to say, well, maybe he's not ready, as if this was a fair test. Let's be really clear. This was sabotage dressed up as a preseason rep. And before you say, oh, come on, that's dramatic, answer this. What kind of coach put a developmental rookie quarterback, who just so happens to be one of the most polarizing, heavily scrutinized names in football, into a game with a third-string offensive line, no real game prep, and zero support? You either don't care what happens to him, or you're trying to make sure he doesn't shine. And in Cleveland's case, that line is looking real blurry. Now let's zoom out, because this isn't just about one preseason game. It's about a pattern, a vibe, a slow, smothering erosion of opportunity. From the moment Shedeur stepped into that facility, it felt off. The fit, the energy, the messaging, none of it screamed, we believe in you. It screamed, we'll keep you around, but don't get comfortable. Meanwhile, Flacco, who's like 700 years old and only marginally mobile on a good day, was handed the QB2 reins with a little bow on top. Dillon Gabriel, undersized but clean, was given a clear shot to showcase. But Shedeur? Nah, he was thrown in with the wolves and told, let's see what you got. And still, in the middle of that train wreck, you saw it. The flashes, the pocket movement, the quick release, the way he stayed calm under pressure when most young QBs would have been seeing ghosts. The arm strength. That ball comes out his hand with NFL velocity. You can't coach that. You can't fake it. You either have that whip crack release or you don't. He has it. And maybe even more impressive, the poise, the demeanor. Shedeur wasn't throwing tantrums on the sideline. He wasn't panicking, throwing his teammates under the bus, or doing the poor me body language routine. He took his hits, stayed composed, and tried to make plays out of the scraps he was given. That's not just maturity. That's leadership. But did Stefanski see that? Did anyone in the Browns front office? Or were they too busy watching the stat sheet and nodding along like, yeah, this is why we don't take media hype quarterbacks seriously. Newsflash, Shedeur isn't just media hyped. He's legitimately talented. And we know this because we've seen it. When he has the slightest sliver of support. Remember the first preseason game? Different situation. Actual playbook. Real protection. Receivers who weren't allergic to separation. And guess what? He cooked. Made smart reads. Got the ball out fast. Made defenders miss. Looked like he belonged. So what changed between that game and this one? Oh, right, nothing except the setup. And that's what stinks. That's what's infuriating. Because let's not forget, Shedeur Sanders didn't need the NFL. He didn't need to enter the league this year. He had nil deals. He had followers. He had offers. He could have stayed another year at Colorado, run the table with Coach Prime, and walked into the draft with full leverage. But he chose to take the leap. He chose to compete. He chose the hard road. And this is what he gets. A coach who clearly doesn't believe in him. A city that's never embraced him. A system that's practically allergic to giving him a real chance. It's not just frustrating, it's offensive. Because whether you like his flash, his confidence, or his father's Instagram sermons, Shedeur is a quarterback. A real one. The kind you build around. He's got the physical tools, the mental toughness, the leadership aura. It's all there, but what he doesn't have, a team that believes in developing him. So now what? Cleveland's clearly not it. We've seen enough. Whether it's ego, politics, or just bad judgment, Stefanski and company have already shown their hand. They don't view Shedeur as a future. At best, they view him as an experiment. And if he stays there, he'll rot. No exaggeration. They'll stash him on a practice squad. Let him hold a clipboard. Give him garbage time reps. And little by little, that spark, the thing that makes Shedeur, will get snuffed out under a pile of organizational indifference. And we cannot let that happen. This kid needs to be somewhere he's wanted. Somewhere that values his upside. Somewhere that actually runs a modern offense and doesn't treat quarterback development like a second-hand hobby. There are teams that would kill to have a guy with Shedeur's raw ability and presence. Teams with offensive minds who could sculpt him into something special. Teams with real plans, with vision, because that's all Shedeur really needs, a shot, a fair one. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, if he's really that good, he should shine no matter what, then respectfully, you're not watching the same league. Quarterbacks don't develop in vacuums. They need the right environment, the right coaches, the right teammates, support, structure. It's not about coddling. It's about not sabotaging. And right now, Cleveland is one bad practice away from becoming the latest chapter in a long history of teams who fumbled the bag on talented quarterbacks. So again, get him out. Trade him. Release him. Let him walk.